In every history book, one name echoes as the spark that lit the fuse of World War I: Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Many know he was assassinated in Sarajevo, and that this triggered a global war. But what if that was only part of the story? What if the assassination wasn't the true cause, but the excuse? What if the war was inevitable, and this single bullet merely unlocked the floodgates of forces already in motion? This film, created by Hidden in History, reveals the lesser-known details of that fateful day, the complex web of alliances, and the real reasons why a regional event turned into the bloodiest conflict the world had ever seen, where shadows still speak. June 28, 1914, Sarajevo. A motorcade winds through the streets. In one of the open-top cars sit Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, and his wife, Sophie. It's a warm day, and the couple is on a goodwill tour. But hiding among the crowd are members of a Serbian nationalist group, the Black Hand. The first attempt fails. A grenade is thrown, but it bounces off the car and explodes behind them, injuring others. The Archduke insists on visiting the wounded in the hospital. But fate, or perhaps poor planning, takes a darker turn. The driver makes a wrong turn. By sheer coincidence, one of the conspirators, Gavrilo Princip, is standing nearby. He steps forward. 2 shots. One hits Sophie. One hits the Archduke. By 11 a.m., both are dead. It was not the first assassination in history. Monarchs had been killed before. But why did this one start a world war? The answer lies in a Europe on edge. In 1914, Europe was a ticking time bomb. Major powers had formed 2 rival alliances: the Triple Entente, France, Russia, and Britain. The Triple Alliance, Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Italy. Militarism was rampant. Nations were building massive armies. Imperialism had made Africa and Asia battlegrounds of European competition. Nationalism, particularly in the Balkans, was explosive. Serbia wanted to unite all Slavic people under its flag, a direct threat to Austria-Hungary. So when a Serbian nationalist killed the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, it was more than an act of terror. It was a challenge to an empire, and a match thrown onto dry hay. Austria-Hungary blamed Serbia and issued an ultimatum with impossible demands. Serbia accepted most, but not all. On July 28th, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. Russia, Serbia's ally, mobilized. Germany, allied with Austria, declared war on Russia. France was pulled in due to its alliance with Russia. Germany invaded Belgium to reach France, bringing Britain into the war. Within weeks, nearly every major power in Europe was at war. It was a catastrophe no one could stop, and perhaps no one wanted to. Some leaders even welcomed it. They believed a short, victorious war would unite their divided nations and secure their empires. They couldn't have been more wrong. By the end of 1914, trenches stretched across Europe. What was supposed to last weeks became a 4-year bloodbath. Over 70 million soldiers were mobilized. More than 30 countries were involved. By 1918, around 20 million people, soldiers and civilians, had died. New horrors emerged. Machine guns mowed down thousands. Poison gas burned lungs and blinded eyes. Tanks crushed defenses. Submarines stalked supply ships. Airplanes turned skies into battlegrounds. Empires crumbled: Austria-Hungary, the Ottoman Empire, Imperial Russia, and eventually Germany. The world that emerged from the war was utterly transformed. But could it have been different? Historians still debate, was the assassination the cause or just a trigger? Some argue that World War I was bound to happen. The alliances, the arms race, and imperial rivalries made war nearly unavoidable. The assassination simply gave it form. But others suggest, if Franz Ferdinand had lived, things might have changed. He was a reformer. He opposed war with Serbia. He wanted to restructure the empire to give Slavs more autonomy. Perhaps, had he become emperor, Austria-Hungary would have been more stable, and war postponed or avoided. Yet, once the killing began, no one could stop the avalanche. It wasn't just about revenge, it was about pride, power, and politics. The story of Franz Ferdinand is more than the tale of a man and 2 bullets. It's a lesson in how fragile peace can be when nations drift toward arrogance and arms. A single spark ignited the world. But the world had already filled the air with fuel. Today, we remember that moment not just as history, but as a warning of alliances unchecked, of nationalism untamed, of leaders who gamble with the lives of millions. From Sarajevo to the trenches of Europe, the echoes still haunt us. This was hidden in history, where shadows still speak. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe the channel. This will help us to create more videos.